really. Oh. Let me start taking the questions. We have two hands raised up. We start with Abdi. Abdi, let me promote you, allow you to talk. Talk to us, Abdi. Abdi, let us allow Rispa as we wait for Abdi. Rispa, can see your hand is up. Rispa, are you able to talk? Rispa, I can't hear you. All right, Abdi. Oh, let me remove them from panelists so that we can be able to continue. Let me pick people at random. I need to know where you guys are at with the last week class. How was the class last week? And how are you enjoying Python so far? And trust me, Python is one of the best languages. Abdi just allowed you to talk, but you're not able to talk. Let me give you another chance. Abdi? Yeah. Let us proceed. So I hope you guys are enjoying the session. Let us just get a piggyback on what we learned last week with the help of Evans. I'll be sharing my screen shortly. I'll be sharing my screen shortly. And you guys, I hope you guys have come to learn. It's going to be a fully hands-on session. I like to be fully hands-on. Uh-huh. I hope you guys are able to see the screen. I can see some questions. People are allow me to disable the charts for a while. I'll be able to enable it later on. I need concentration while training you guys. So last week, let me just go to the Python panel. For those who can be able to access the LMS, I hope you guys have done, of course, introduction, did data structures. This is my favorite part, data structures. Later on, when you're coding, you're going to find algorithms. Those are vital when it comes to interviewing for technical jobs, such as software engineering. Control flows and functions, of course, those are the things that you normally do while coding in Python. You've done file handling and exception management. So today we are going to do object-oriented programming. When you hear about OOP, four things should be coming in your mind. Object-oriented programming, we have for Java, object-oriented programming for C#, we have for Python as well. Those things are very important. The four things should be coming in your mind. That is inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and we have one more, which I'll just enable the chat so that I can allow you guys to be able to say what the last one is. I've mentioned three: inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and Somebody? Abstraction? Perfect. You can see the concentration is there. So that is what we are going to get into. And what you should understand is that this is the apex of Python programming, because one of the best languages that you can be able to learn as a learner is start with Python. Python is the easiest, and I myself, the first language that I did back then when I started coding, of course I did PHP, I did other languages, but I found that Python is the best go-to language for a beginner. It brought me up there, and I was able to learn it really well so that I can be able to do machine learning. I was able to do Django projects, Flask projects. I was able to work with it with data science, data analysis, and so on. So with Python, there's so much, actually, there's so much that you can be able to do with it. So just feel free. The language is easy. And if you're floating, don't worry. That is a normal effect. Floating is obvious. You are not expected to learn it instantly. We expect you to learn bit by bit. So we are giving you chunks of food. Chew it slowly. Don't get choked as we proceed. All the content that we have around the LMS, I hope you guys have gone through that. So for me, I'm not going to touch anything here. You already have all of this. I'm going to take you my way because you have the theoretical part. I'm now going to take you my way, which is hands-on. So I would like you to open your Visual Studio Code whenever you have in your machine. So let me open mine. I'm using Linux. For me, I'm using Linux. So open your Visual Studio Code. I need you to work in a clean sheet. So let me trust the author. Of course, I'm the author. I should trust myself to begin with. We have some charts. Yeah, the session is being recorded as we speak. Does my voice have an echo? Kindly somebody confirm. So kindly, we have somebody saying that there's an echo. Kindly check your network. You can reboot, you can restart. You can increase your volume, kindly. You see mine is so high. My volume is so high as we speak right now. My audio is so high. So kindly increase your volume. The session is being recorded, and trust me, you're going to enjoy this one. So open a VS Code. If I have an echo, kindly restart or you can rejoin the session to avoid the piggyback of the network, because a lot of people are live now. So after opening your VS Code, we are going to be creating several files. I have people raising up their hands. Let me see. Yes, Nelson, let me allow you to talk. Nelson, you're raising up your hand. Okay, let me remove you. So let us focus now on the class as we go on. If you have any question, put that on the Q&A. Allow me to disable the chats for the best of it. I have any question, put that on the Q&A. So I want to approach our class today in a very, very different way. I want to approach the class in a very different way. So even let me close this one. I want to approach it in a very different way. So today, I'm going to have us work on object-oriented programming in a project-based manner. Project how? I'm going to let us create a smart library for object-oriented. So it's going to be all about the four: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. And we are going to see how they impact object-oriented and how they are the four pillars of object-oriented programming. With those, allow me to create a project. So the project is going to be called Smart Library. Then we change directory into that. CD means change, MKD means make directory or make a folder. So let us now open our VS Code here. Zoom in a bit. So in here, we are going to start from the top and we are going to walk down file by file. And then at the end of it, you're going to see why object-oriented programming is interesting. So allow me to start at the top, then walk down. I'll be creating several files. And with these files, I'll be explaining all the way how we are coming about these files. And then I'm going to join all of them together so that we can be able to learn something. So object-oriented programming, when you hear about object-oriented programming, what you have to understand is that the goal of this class for object-oriented programming is we want to define and use Python classes and objects. We want to apply the four, that is encapsulation, abstraction, and inheritance and polymorphism, to apply them as we code. Number three, we want to build this smart library system in Python. And number four, we want to understand and organize our code like real-world software developers, because that is what we are training for. We want to train as such. So what we are going to, I'm going to explain as we go, don't worry. Our project basically is going to be, we are going to build a system that is going to manage books and their types. They can be physical, digital, or magazines. We are going to allow borrowing, returning, rating, streaming, and so on. And by all of this, at the end of it, we are going to demonstrate the full potential of object-oriented design patterns, because that's one of the design patterns. Yes. So somebody is asking, do we need to create a smart library? That I'm going to approach this lesson in a project-based manner so that we can be able to understand. Yes, I'm going to break for you to understand inheritance itself, polymorphism itself, but in a project-based manner, so that at the end of it all, you are able to use it in a project. You know where to use it in a project, whether it is in a Django project, in a Flask project, in a Pyramid project, in a Streamlit project. All of these are libraries found in Python or just vanilla Python. So you can be able to follow with me or just listen in, because at some point I might be coding faster. So bear with me as we proceed. So, so first things first, we are going to introduce encapsulation. So we want to see what is to encapsulate. We want to understand what the encapsulation is. I understand that you guys already are aware of the fundamentals of Python. You're already aware of the fundamentals of Python. So what I'm going to be introducing you to is now the basics for you to be able to understand what a class is and how a class is being defined basically in a programming aspect. You see? So encapsulation, these are as being one of the four pillars of OOP. Encapsulation here is used for bundling data and behavior, hiding internal objects here and there. So you want to encapsulate. Encapsulate is like take an analogy of putting it under a wing, or putting it like closing it together, like protecting it. So encapsulation means keeping the internal state of an object hidden and accessed only through the defined methods. That is the basic definition of encapsulation. I'm trying to say, okay, we don't have any questions so far. So I'm going to start creating something called book. So book.py. So of course we have AI. Don't worry if you are, we have AI. Let me install an extension. Currently I didn't install an extension for Python. It's been a while, but don't worry, Python is still fresh in my mind like yesterday. Because I code every day, by the way. So as we wait for this one to install, you're free to use AI. You're free to use AI. As you can see in your VS Code, there's something called GitHub Copilot. It is already there. We have GitHub Copilot, and you can able to use it really, really well if you want to. So as this one continues installing, let us continue here. Don't like this Copilot thing. Okay, it is installed. Now, we are going to define a class called book. And this class called book, book is going to contain, so a class can contain so many, so many functions at a go. So when, another thing to notice, the use of object-oriented is when you see somebody using a class. So you can have so many functions or methods working under one class, so that next time when you want to reuse the function, the main purpose of object-oriented is as well is reusability, called reusability. So if I write everything about the book now, if I write everything about the book, next time I want to use the book, I just need to import the book. So I'm going to import the book, and the book is going to come with the children. So there's something called parent-children elements or in programming. So when you access a book, the class called book is a parent. The functions within this parent are called children. So each function that are found in this parent is called a child. So you can have a child for borrowing, a child for returning the book. So all of these are children that you have to put them under one parent. So that is how it works. Currently, let us focus in class so that we can be able to see. So let us try and define everything that we have. So first of all, we want to define or declare public attributes. I'm going to declare public attributes, and then I'm going to be explaining as we go on what these public attributes they mean, you see, and how I'm going to be referencing them. Don't worry, you're going to understand them bit by bit. So I'm going to start by something called initial. I'm going to start with an initializer. So I'm going to say def. Some people are raising their hands. You can just put them and put their question on the, put your question on the, what do you call? Put your question on the Q&A. Those hands are confusing me here. Please. Thank you. So we want to declare an initializer. So our first function is going to be initializer. It's going to have, it's like a constructor method to initialize the book object. So this is how it is done. You just say init, then you can have self. I don't like this autocomplete sometimes. So I'm going to have title. Okay, AI is right because this is what I want to declare, except for the second function, that is not what I want. So this initializer, this initializer is what I want to initialize the attributes when a book is created. So it's an instance that I'm creating as to initialize all the attributes when a book is created. So whenever this book is created, I'm going to use the self, the thing that you're seeing here as self. Let me just autocomplete it because sometimes it is right, sometimes it is not. Though I'm going to add a few things there. So what you're seeing there is the initializer initializes the attribute when a book is created. So it runs whenever, or we can say it mounts. In web development, you say mounting. when you work with state variables, you're going to get there. It mounts whenever a book is created. That's why that init is called, I call it initializer, because when you run it, it is going to create that book object. So when that book object is created, we have attributes found within the book. The attributes found within the book are title, author, and the year. And also we are going to add one more, which is availability. We are going to add availability, so available. Is that book available or not? So we are going to use Boolean. So by default, the book is available to borrow. For the borrower, we are going to use it next time. I'm not going to use it now. So as you can see, this self refers to the current instance of the project, of the object rather. So every time I'm going to be using that one. So self is going to represent title, self-title, we have self-author, and we have self-year. And that we have to check one of the attributes is availability. Is it available or not? So here, as you can see, these ones we are using strings, but for this one, you're using Boolean. It is either it is there or not. So this is going to present the title of the book, the author of the book, the publication year, and as well, we are going to have the availability. Is it available or not? So proceeding swiftly, that part I think you are able to understand, because this the last part of availability, this one is going to keep track of whether the book is borrowable. Like, is it valid to be borrowed or not? So if it is not valid, that book is not going to be borrowed. So it is not going to be available for the next function. Now, let us have another child. So this another child function, we are going to call it borrow. So, and I don't like how this thing is behaving, because this autocompletes, sometimes it is right, sometimes it's not. But anyway, I'm going to be coding it myself because some things are not correct. So I'm going to mark the book as borrowed if it is available. So I'm going to write a conditional statement to check. So if self is available, if self is available, if self is available, so if the book is available, when I call this one, what I'm trying to say here is, I'm trying to say this by default. This one is, let me denote this one. So this one, default to available. So that one is available by default. Now, how about when I call that condition? So I'm going to say if that book is available, make it not available. Because once you borrow, you remove it from the shelf, so it is not going to be available. So if that is available, you have to change it to be not available. So you have to make it to be false. You have to change it to be false if it is available, because at the state whereby as soon as you borrow that book, you remove it. So you have to change the state where it was. After that, you have to say, to give a return of saying, okay, we can come and say return. So we are going to use formatted comments. You see formatted comments. So formatted comments, these are dynamic comments whereby you can be able to put dynamicity or dynamics within your comments. So these comments are normally written like this. So you can say you have borrowed, then the title by that person. But okay, it is correct, but I'm not interested in this part. Not interested in that part. So you have borrowed a book of that title, then you're done. So it is formatted because I can be able now to come and put dynamics here. Remember, I don't know what kind of book you have borrowed, so I'm just putting dynamics so that you can be able to label what kind of book you have done. So that function is done. We are done with that function. But now that return is when the book has been taken. How about this one? So after that book is removed from the shelf, we also have to put that vacancy. We have to put that vacancy in play. I hope you people are understanding what I'm trying to say. If you are understanding what I'm trying to say, put thumbs up. Also, let me enable the chats. I understand in a class, people like making noises. So backbenchers, where are you? In a class, they are normally backbenchers, so like making noises. Anyway, I've just given you a leeway to make a few noises here and there. You can put that on the chat. You can comment on the chat if you have understood up to where I am, because we are talking about encapsulating. Shortly, I'm going to explain the whole encapsulation theory. Have you understood? Other people can put thumbs up, thumbs down. Other people can comment on the chat. Nobody's commenting on the chat, so there are no noisemakers in class. This is so funny. Feel free. People are raising up their hands. People are putting thumbs down. Thumbs down meaning, okay, people, what if I have multiple copies of book? Yeah, we're getting there. Would you explain, please, explain the function of self? Self is not a function. The chat is disabled. I've just enabled the chat. Let me enable again. I think I've not. These makers are coming to kill me right now. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How about now? You see, we have so many noise makers. If you don't understand, don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, let me disable the copilot. It's giving me a gist and I don't like it. Code completion, let me remove it for everything. Let us see if it is. Yeah, it is not able to complete the code, which is a good thing. Yeah, we are good. And let's make us. We are making a lot of noises. So let me explain the self. Even for me, this self attribute was a very hard thing to understand at first. When I started coding, it was really hard to understand this self. It is not something hard, by the way. You just need to sit down and understand it slowly by slowly. I hope noise making is over. It does now come back to class. So, like I said, self refers to the current instance of an object. So, what is an object? Let us start by object. So, an object, what you can say an object, it can carry so many things. Like a book is an object in this case. It has so many things within one. In other cases, people call an object a dictionary because, except that it can carry so many things like what you can say, if you're a person called is an object. A person has a name, a person has an age, a person has a gender, a person has a height, weight. So all of these attributes are describing this one person. All of these attributes are describing this one person. So self, what you can say, we are referring to the current instance. So you as a person, if I want to refer to you easily, I take self name. So whenever I want to know your name, for that instance, I just say self.name. Then I'm able to know. So people, kindly let's stop reacting. People are reacting so much here. We need to focus in class. I have chats coming in. I'm explaining bit by bit, don't worry. I want to explain bit by bit so that we can understand everything slowly. My goal is to make sure that we all understand everything slowly. Everything is well explained. And those people are raising up their hands, kindly. It is confusing, it is glitching on my screen. Somebody is saying it's not nice. What is not nice? Let me disable these chats. Yeah, I've disabled the reactions because people are trying to put other reactions that are not making sense. People are not concentrating in class, which I understand so much. So allow me to explain. Allow me to explain like you're a beginner. So um let me explain. So this code, we are using a class called book. So think of this class as a blueprint for how you create and manage information in a single book. So how do you manage information in a single book? That's how you are trying to make a class. So a class can contain so many functions, which I've already explained, like classes are like parents that have children under them. So starting from the initializer, let me explain. So this is like the form you will fill out when a book is added to the library. So when you go to the library, you are being asked to fill a form. So in that form, you're supposed to put the title of the book, the author of the book, and the year of the book. So put this in this context that you're trying to borrow this book. So you start by filling the form. So this initializer is the form that you have to fill in this library that you're trying to talk about. So think of it. That's the first thing that you encounter when you want to have that book. When you want to interact with that book, you have to fill that form. So that is why we have initialized like this. So we have title, author, year. So in this way, so what your question is, what is the meaning of this self? So what it does, basically what I've just highlighted is, it stores all the information inside the book object. So it is going to set it as available, so by default, meaning the book is on the shelf and ready to be borrowed or to be taken. So the self just means this specific book we are talking about, like we are referring, if it is this kind of book, it is this one. We are not generalizing what we want. We just want this specific book. So that is what it means essentially. We are referring to that particular book. So the specificity of us pointing to that book that you're talking about. Because if I want to borrow that book, I have to refer self-title. I've not generalized because I can have a title for a certain book, but that title is in on so many books. So many books are having that particular title. But when I use self, I point to that particular book, that single book that I'm talking about. So pointing to that book with that title, with that particular author, that particular year, and the availability of that single book. That is what I'm talking about. So continuing what you have done so far about borrow is that this function, what it does is taking the book off the shelf, like it is removing it from being available. So this function essentially, or you can say method, is here for you to be able to use it to borrow a book. So That's why you're saying borrow that particular book. So this is referring borrow that particular book. Particularity, that's what we're talking about. So if the book is available, it changes the state to not available and says you have borrowed the book of title it has given. So if the book was already borrowed, it tells you certain and certain book is currently unavailable. That is what you are trying to write here. So you come and write here, return, formatted statement. Then you come and say a book of a certain title. So you can come and say put self dot title is currently unavailable. Simple. So that particular book has already been taken. So if that book is not available. Now, let us proceed to the next one. Slowly by slowly, we want to cover encapsulation, then we go to other properties. We have 3 pillars to go. Then we can call it a session. And we're already down to almost 1 hour. So we want to have another one called returning the book. So returning. So return book. So return book, of course, particularity, we are focusing on that. So when someone returns the book, this method, or you can say this function, sets it back, like it is taking it back now to the shelf. So it's going to change the availability to be true as it was earlier. So this one is going to mark the book as returned. So you are going to say self.available. Then you're going to say here true, just like that. Then you can be able to give a message. Just give a message that particular book has been returned. So you can say, self.title. So has been returned in a very simple way. Now, that function is so simple. So let me try to mark these things so that we can be able to understand. So this one, what you can say is that this type of commenting that I like is called block commenting. You can come and say marks the book as returned. And then this one, 1, 2, 3. So this one, what it does, marks the book as borrowed, if available. If the book is available. Simple. And then this one, I can able to put a comment like, can say, so this one is a constructor. A constructor method, just like what I have said, to initialize the book object. So that is the constructor to initialize the book object, and it comes with the 3 attributes: title, author, and year. The availability is just the default. It has to be available for it to be asked for or to be borrowed. Now, we want to handle the next function. These functions, don't worry, I'm going to explain everything together and what encapsulation means after writing all of these functions. But I think you are getting the gist of what I'm going to talk about in terms of as far as Python programming is concerned, and also as far as encapsulation and object-oriented programming is concerned. Now, let us try and fetch the whole details of this particular book that you're talking about. Remember, you're talking about particularity. So I want to fetch the details. So get details. Of course, particularity. When you use self, you are trying to say that I'm not trying to generalize what I want. I want this kind of book. Even if there are 1,000 copies, I just want this particular one. So we are going to say here, returns, this one is going to returns formatted. Of course, I've just said formatted book information. So it is going to do that. So for it to do that, we are going to just return it formatted. Formatted, that's how we do it. So we come and start by saying self dot title by who. So by, we give the author, then we give the year. So this one is going to return that kind of book. That one is going to return that kind of book. Any question? Let me see on the Q&A if you have any questions. Okay, we don't have any question. Well, we have 3 questions, 3 or 4. Why if available equals false? Why? Why what? There somewhere have lost. Can you repeat? Why are kindly? And somebody is saying, why available is false? Why if available false? Okay, let me repeat this part. I think this is the part. So remember the availability of the book by default is true, by default. So picture it like that book is on the shelf, so which means it's available. So that function of the method for borrowing, it is going to mark the book as borrowed if the book is available. If the book is available. So the condition is if self-available. So if self-available, we know by default is true. So that statement, line 15, is definitely saying if the book is available. So you have to interpret that in your mind. If the book is available. So if self is available, remember self-available by default at line 9 is true by default. So if the book is available, you have to mark it as unavailable because by borrowing, you are taking it. So check first, is the book there? Yeah. Line 16, it is going to take it. So that is the process of taking the book out of the shelf. So line 15 checks if it is available. Line 16, what it does, it is going to remove it from the shelf. So when you remove it from the shelf, you have to mark it as borrowed. So you have taken it. So line 17 says, you have borrowed a book of this title. Then line 18 is confirming now that the book has been taken. So it's creating a vacancy within the shelf, saying that a book of this title is currently unavailable. It's currently not available. It has been taken. So single quotes and double quotes, these are just they are normally being used for what do we call? Just for commenting and everything. I don't know the exact way. However, the note in line 13 says available. Mark the book as borrowed if the book is available. So you cannot borrow a book that is not there. So lines 15 checks if the book is available. It is going to check. Remember, the default of this book is available by default. But we have to check. We're trying to borrow, right? So remember, this particular function here, I just said, it's like a form that you're trying to fill in a library. So when you fill this form, you are assuming that this book is there. So that's why you are coming to borrow it. So because you know it is there. So you have to sign to check if that book is there. So it can be there, or by the time you get to the shelf, it will be already gone. So you have to check if it's available. If it is available, so if self available, you don't need to come and put this. You don't need to come and put something like this. You don't need to do that because you have already said here, self available, it is true, like it is already there. So by just saying self available, you are saying if the book is available, now remove it. Then say that this book, I'm borrowing this book. Then a message is supposed to be returned that this book is already gone. Line 18, your comment is missing a note. Line 18 is currently unavailable, not available, not available, unavailable, available, unavailable. Or let me just put it in a simple English. Not available. So single quotes, don't worry about these single quotes. They're not affecting anything. Even I can remove them. This is just saying, quote unquote, this kind of book that you're trying to say is. But when you're using formatted, actually this one is not supposed to be here. I wanted it to be here. Just to say that this kind of book, quote unquote, this kind of book is something here. Then you make sure that you save. Line 31 doesn't have single quote. Don't worry about single quotes. Single quotes doesn't mean anything as long as you're using double quotes for formatted comments, for formatted returning that you want to do. If you want to do formatted printing, you have to use for these double quotes. So don't worry about single quotes. But we can replace line 18 with an else. Yeah, we can do that, but that is going to bring another logic about our program. It's going to bring another logic, so no need. I don't want to use else. I don't want to use else statements. No need to do that. Okay, anyway, by using else statements, it's just adding extra lines. So I'm trying to line as clean code as possible. Anyway, allow me to continue. Where I left at to explain how encapsulation is coming with what you have seen here. Allow me to do that. So, like I said, encapsulation just means keeping everything about the book in one neat package. So you are putting them together, like every kind of information about that book, we are putting it in a neat package. So it is easier to manage and protect. So it's like now, what I can say is putting your money inside your wallet. You can be able to manage that money while it is in the wallet. You can be able to manage that money or protect that money while it is in one place. So keeping everything about that thing in one package, that is encapsulation. I hope you have understood. So imagine in a real world, a book in a library, all of its information, like the title, author, year, and whether or not the book is on the shelf, it is written in one card. So you have that everything together about that book in one card inside that book. So when you open that book, you find that it was written by so-and-so. It was from this year. This is the title, and the availability of this book, it is here. So it is in one package inside that book. So you don't have to look in 5 different places to know what's going on with that kind of book. So you find the title there, you find the author of that book, that other side of the library, you find the year of that book, or that the author wrote that book in another side of the library, you find the availability in the front desk. So having all of this together, that is what we call encapsulation. So in code, encapsulation is about it's about not going, it's about doing the same thing that we have just talked about, wrapping data together, like the title, like information about you. If I want to know about you, instead of going to ask your parent, then I go and ask your age to your sister, then I go and ask your height to your father, I can just ask everything from you. You are going to give me the answers. So all of this information is within you. It's just a matter of asking you, then you give me all of it. So I ask you, so and so, what is your name? What year were you born? How tall are you? Just like that. What country do you come from? So that is encapsulation, wrapping everything together. So you having all of those information, it is easier to retrieve. Now think of it in a programming aspect. When you're building a software, you put everything together. For example, you're building a marketplace. Building this marketplace, you need product. That kind of product, you need all the information about that product to be at the same place so that retrieval can be easy. If I'm going to browse in Amazon and then I find scattered information, I'm not going to buy that product because it is very confused. But the programmers have made it possible for me. When I browse about that product, I get the picture of that product, the title of that product, the price of that product, and everything containing that product at the same place. So that is encapsulation. So, and the action like borrowing, returning, getting details, all of those together, like everything pertaining that product, or in this case, this book, they are all together. So I hope now you understand what encapsulation is. So how does encapsulation show up in this book? I've already explained. So let us break it down into parts. So all data lives inside the object, not floating around. I've already explained. I don't want to find your name there, your age there. I don't want to find your height from so and so. I just want to find everything living inside you, like within you. So I've already said that. So these lines that you're seeing here, this means that this specific book stores its own title, its own author, its own year, its own availability. So that's why it is self-titled, self-author, self-year, self-available. It is storing its own information within. So that information is not stored somewhere random for me to fetch them, not somewhere random. So if you have 10 books, each book is going to hold and manage its own information privately. Privately, remember the word privacy. So if you have not told me your age, I'm not going to know your age. So it is your privacy. That's your privacy. I cannot breach that. If you have not told me, you cannot go around telling people your name. You have to keep it to yourself unless you are asked for. So later on, we are going to see how to ask for a certain kind of book that you want. So number 2, you interact with this book only through its method. Only through its method. Like I said, this is a parent. And within this parent, we have a child. So we have forget about this child. We have this child, we have this child, and then we have this child. So later on, you're going to see, if you want to access this get details, you come and say book.get details. That's how you're going to access it, sorry. So if you want to get availability of that book, so this is how you're going to access it. If you want to get availability of that book, let me comment this. I'm used to web. So if I want to get the availability of that book, so I'm going to say book dot available. So then I can say false or true if I want to. Remember, if you're accessing a method, this is how you access a method. You have to put this parenthesis saying that this is a method or a function that I'm accessing. But if it's an attribute, we have to follow that attribute with the value that it's holding. So if it is available, we know by default it is holding a value Boolean, which is true. So we can put false or true. Now, why is this good? So it is good for, it controls access, number 1. So the method can check if the book is actually available before letting someone borrow it. Number 2, it protects the rule. So what you can say about this is that nobody can accidentally break the logic. For example, getting it as someone borrowed when it's already borrowed. Like you cannot borrow the same book, that particular book. That's what we say about particularity. You cannot borrow the book that has already been borrowed. Go to the next one that is available. So we are protecting the logic. That's why encapsulation comes in. So this is called a book. Everything about the book and every rule pertaining the book has been written here. So later on, if you want to use this one, we just need to go to another file and use it. We have a Q&A here. Why is available not initialized? Why is available not initialized? What do you mean? Why is available not initialized? Oh, right here. This one is not a property. Available is not a property to be initialized that you can say, let me initialize this one. Available is not an attribute of a book. Availability is outside the book. Availability, remember, availability is outside the book. These three are inside the book. These three are inside the book. They describe what the book is. But when you want to borrow, that is when availability comes in. That's why I have not declared it or initialized it as you wanted. So let us proceed. We are not done with explaining what we are trying to explain here. Okay, I've already explained actually things like this, how you use them. So the object, they are handling their own responsibility. So encapsulation. So the method, they know what to do. So when you get to get details method knows what to do when it is called. So it flips the availability like something like flags and like flipping the availability flag and gives you feedback. So returned, so if you return the, like this one is saying returns a formatted book information. So all of these are just trying to use encapsulation, just declaring the behavior of the book entirely. So, what is the thin line between class, function, and method? Function and method is one and the same thing, only that other programming languages call methods function, other call function methods. Anyway, one and the same thing. A function, you understand, is it has the logics under that, or like you can say programs altogether. We normally call it a method because we can say that it is something that is already done, like it's an automated way of doing things that is packaged together. So whenever you call that method, so if in a team, I have a striker method, I have a defender method. So whenever I call a defender, the defender's function is to defend the ball. The striker's function is to go and take a goal there. The goalkeeper's method is to protect against any goal that is supposed to come in. So you can say that methods are like that. So we have pre-programmed things under that method so that we can call that method and it does what it's supposed to do. So instead of us getting the details, we already know what get details does. So let us just call details. So one of the same thing as function, but methods sound more premier. Class are like I said, you can have so many methods under one class. So a class is a parent, methods are children under. We proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, in short, without encapsulation, you would have to manage the book information and borrowing logic separately. That is the short thing that we can be able to say. Because with encapsulation, everything is bundled neatly inside that book object. So book here, the class book, this is an object. This here is an object by itself. So this object has everything here. So it is safer to use. You don't need to repeat things. So when I go here and create another file, and then I want to use the borrow, I just come and call this parent. This parent is going to attach the child, then I'm going to use it. Everything in here is going to be performed easily. So let us proceed to the next one. That was encapsulation. Now, how about the next one? We want to see things neatly done. We don't want to, I'm trying to find the word. Let us not rush things. because after you have understood encapsulation, I think the rest are going to be easier as we proceed. They are going to be easier as we proceed. I'm just waiting for any question. Okay, we have another one. We are not yet there. Don't worry. Your goal about running the code, just run. I prefer you running the code after you have done everything. Then it's going to appear great. So start learning that as soon as possible. What you're going to handle next, guys, what you're going to handle next is called abstraction. What you're going to handle next is called abstraction. Abstraction is the next thing. So we are going to create a file here called library.py. And within that library.py, this is where we're going to use abstraction. So now that we have done encapsulation in book.py, the next step is to move to the library.py file, which we are in right now, where we are going to explore abstraction. What we're trying to say here is organizing our system into clean, easy to use interface that we can say hide internal logic from the user. So we don't want the user to see what you have done about borrowing. No, we want the user just to have that interface. So we are abstracting that information from the user. That is what we talk about abstraction. It's not that hard. You see, we are adding complexities and expose only necessary things that you want to know. Just like in a kitchen setup where when you have your mom at home or your spouse or anything who is cooking in the kitchen, it's not a must for you to go in the kitchen and see how they're chopping the onions, how they are rolling, they're spinning that food. They're hiding all of that so that when they bring food on the table, that is what you want to have, not the complexity of how to chop the onion. We don't want to know that. So the same thing applies here. We don't want the user to know, to have that complexities. We want to hide all of that. So we want to expose only the necessary information or the necessary methods. So how do we do that? So that is when we introduce something called library. So from this library, we have a book, right? So let us just import the book. So this is what I was talking about. So from book, import book. So this book is already there. We already have this book. As you can see, when I control click, it is going to take me to this object called book. So whenever I want to use book, I just need to say book dot, then I give borrow book dot get details, book dot return, something like that. So in here, I'm going to have a class. So class, we call this one library. So of course, other things you already know. So I don't need to, let me instantiate our things. So init. Then what you're going to have here, so it's self. Now let me put a name. So we are creating a new library with a name and empty list of books. So that library, so title, name, and author are going to be found in a book, but the book is going to be found in a library. So you can find one or more books in a library, you see? So that library has to have a name. So because it is going to have a name, what you're going to say here, let me say, we can say create a new library. A new library with the name and an empty list of books. So let us create a name. Of course, we know we have to use self for particularity. So name, just like that. And then the books, the empty books that we have. So books. So because it's an empty, it is going to be an array. So we are going to have an array. So an array, something like that. So that is going to create our empty list. Or you can say array. You see, arrays and lists are kind of the same thing. You just need to know which programming language calls it a list. Python calls arrays list. Other programming language calls arrays. So you just need to know. Now, so we have instantiated what we want. So this is the entry point. What you can say, this is the entry point. When you just enter, this is what you have. Now, what do we have next? So we want this library. In this library, you can add a book to the collection, to the library collection. So you can say add book. So self, of course, book, something like that. And then you're going to say, add a book object to the library collection. Add a book to the libraries collection. So we want to add a book. So how do you add a book? You guys have already done data structures, right? In data structures and algorithms, you are going to find things called appending. When you want to append, let's say you have a pile of books. From the bottom, you pile up to the top. So to append a book, you add to the existing. So you already have a list, so you add to the existing, or you have an empty list, you add to the list now, if it is empty. So how do you do that? I need you guys to understand this and try to see how you can apply it to things like e-commerce and everything. How do you add in a list? You have an empty list. How do you add an item in an empty list? So to do that, you say books dot. So we have so many things. Here are they. Append, we have clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these, they are found in data structures algorithms. When you want to append, you put. To clear, as the name suggests. To copy, you just take a copy and leave the original there and take it to the next place. To count just means count how many are there. To extend, you just need to prolong it. To index, as the name suggests, you have to put them in the indices format. To insert, you have to insert. Basically, you can put at the beginning, at the top, at the bottom, or just within the other items. You can just scooch it inside there. Pop, you just need to pop it up. Like you pick the top, the one that is at the top, you just pop it up. To remove is just take it out. To reverse is just to make the first be the last. To sort is just to put it in a chronological order. All of these are very important for you to understand when it comes to writing logic. So for us, we want to use append method. So that append method, what are we appending? What are we adding? So append object to the end of the list. So you are adding. So first, second, third, you are adding at the far end of the list. Far end of the list. Or if you are arranging place of books, which one? The one at the top is the one that is the last one to enter in the list. So you come and say, we are appending a book, something like that. Now, that is a method to add a book. How about listing a book? We have already added. So let us write a function to list all the books with their details all together. So this is where from book import book. This is where you are going to use to reuse our code that we already wrote. So you're going to say list books. I really love Python. Very easy. Okay, I think you guys are already settled. So let me enable the reactions, but please don't react. Don't overdo. Don't overdo. So you are waiting for me to add it. Anyway. So we are trying to list the book. So we want to write a function that returns. So we want to return. Remember, these are the things that we want the users to see. We don't want the user to see how to get details. No, we are trying to do abstraction. Things like appending. When you do appending, when you append a book, you don't want to tell the user how to append. No, just give the user the append method. These are all part of things called abstraction, you see? So return a list of all books. Return a list of all books with their details. Let me add their details to make it fun. Now, for us to return that, remember our format. So formatted return, or because it's dynamic, we don't need to do that. So we can just do without. So we can come and say, because it's an array or a list, remember you're returning a list. So forgive me if I keep saying array, because I'm used to working with a lot of programming languages such that other languages, they use arrays. They don't know anything about list. So because we're working with a list, we are going to say book dot, then we fetch all the children from the book. Remember, this book is from here and it is here. So all the children, so where do we get to get all the details? So this is the function or the method to get all the details. So we just need to get it. We just need to get it and put it as a method, just like that. So when you put it like that, book.get details is going to fetch all the details. Then, just listen, because we want it to be iterative meaning to be in a loop. We want it to be in a loop because we don't know how many are there. So we want it to be in a loop. So we are going to put it in a loop way. So allow me to introduce you to how to write loops, because we have already written loops, but you are used to the old method, which is you have to write line by line. No, we have other methods. So get book.get details. So we are fetching all the details for what? So for book in self.books. So this kind of programming that you're seeing in line 21, it is going to fetch the details, but it is going to put them in an iterative way. So it is going to take all of them and put them there. So it is going to do a referencing there. So it's going to get all the books, list all the books with their details. That is what is happening here, a loop. Try and go understand how to write loops, modern loops. This is one of the ways. It's self-explanatory. You can be able to, I just give you a homework, just go and study how to. Now, we have seen how to add a book. We have seen how to list books with their details. How do we find a book? Ladies and gentlemen, this is where things like data structures, you have to understand them really well. You have to understand them really well. So take this scenario. You are in Amazon site and you're trying to find a certain product. So you have to search it. So how do you find it? In a stack of many items. So let us write a very minimalistic function or method that is going to do that. So we are trying to find a book by the title. So that is what we want to do. So book, self, title. Written, sorry. Now, so we are going to say, so search for a book by title. So let us have something testy a bit. So case insensitive, meaning it doesn't matter it is lowercase or uppercase. It is case insensitive. Insensitive. Then we can be able to say, so if it is found, if found, return. So when you write these comments, it is trying to explain to somebody how your function is going to operate. Return the book. Typos. Return the book object. Let me put it, because it's an object, it's supposed to be like that. Book object. Return a book object. If not, return none. That is what we want to achieve. So you already understand, even before I write, what we want to achieve. So I want to search the book. by the title, case insensitive. So if you find the book, return the object. If you are not going to find the book, return none. So it is going to be fun. Then I'm going to explain everything about abstraction for you as a beginner. So we are going to say for book in what? So book for book in self.books. So self.books, this is a list that we have created. So this is a list. So a book can be found in a stack of books. So self.books, particularity of that kind of books that we have in our stack. So this is containing a list of books. Right now we have declared an empty list here, but a book can be found inside that book, inside a stack of books. It's going to be found here. So you can have 2, 1,000, 10,000 books if you want to. So for a book inside this one, what should happen? So for a book, we're trying to search. So we're searching for a book inside. Imagine Python is just like speaking in English. So we are searching for a book inside self books or inside a list that we have for books. So then you're going to say, so we are searching it. So if the book that we are trying to search is found, so we are searching by what? Title. So dot title. So book.title, let us say lowercase. Let us search it by lowercase because it says case insensitive. So what you are bringing, like whatever you are searching is going to be converted to lowercase. So that is, we are going to put an equivalence there. Remember, there's a difference between single equal sign and double equal sign and triple equal sign. So single equal sign means one is belonging to another. So the one on the right side is belonging to the one on the left side. That is being used on variables. This one is equivalence. You're trying to say equivalence. So just to explain what is happening here. So if a book that you're trying to search is equivalent to what we have in our stack, return that book. If there is nothing that you have found, please just close the program and return none. Simple, and you're done. So if we are searching for a book in our list, this is our list. Now, in our list that we have, if that book title, we have just put lowercase, everything to lowercase, by the way. If that book title is exactly what you are searching, the title that you are searching, please return that book. Bring it up. In other cases, you can just say pop it up. You see? Pop it up from where it is. Otherwise, if it's not there, please return none. And that is done. So let me explain. If you're a beginner, let me just explain things about abstraction. So let's say you're trying to design, I'm used to giving analogies. So please understand me, I'm used to giving analogies. So let's say you are working with a vending machine. You don't care how it is going to find the drink inside. You don't care. What you care is just you put things there. You don't care what is going to happen. So you just want to press the button and it gives it to you. So that vending machine. So that vending machine, it can have so many drinks there. Coca-Cola, it can have Sprite, it can have so many tastes, so many flavors that we have there. So you don't care. You just want to press that button and you want it to give you Coke or Coca-Cola or Fanta. You just want it to give that to you. So you don't care anything else. You just want that. So when you press that, it is going to give it to you. So that's abstraction. Abstraction, essentially, we are hiding the internal logic. How does the machine take that drink and bring it to you? You don't care. So it has hidden that. So we are hiding the internal logic and giving the user simple methods. For example, simple methods like listing a book, simple methods like finding a book. Those simple methods like adding a book. Because within adding a book, you have append. Within append, you have so many things that is happening there. And also this self book, you have so many things that is going there. Within finding a book, you have other things going on there. So just give a user find book. Just take it and use it. List a book. You want to find the list of the book? Take this method. You want to find a book? Take this method. You want to add a book to the shelf? Take this method. So it is that simple. It is that simple. Don't worry. We are going to test all of these things. We are going to test. For example, if right now I want to test this library, we can go to test it, by the way. We can go to test it. So you can come and say test library. Let us test if our code base is working. .py. So first things first, we are going to say from book, import book. Then you say from library, import library. Just like that. Then you are going to say, so lib, this is now Python. Forgive me if I start going faster. So lib, let us try to bit label it. So lib, we are going to say library. So remember, the first function is to create a library name. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm just going to put a name. So this name is going to call test library. So that is the name of our library. So that's how you use them, by the way. So the instantiate that we have, it is going to be called like this, library, then you put everything that you want about that library there. So this, we said create a new library with a name. So put a name. So that's what we have done here. So list library. So lib library. So we have already taken the name of the library and put them here. And then we can go to come and say lib. We have people having questions. If you have any question, put that on the Q&A. It's easy for me to reach out there. I hope you'll push this code here. I'll push that code to GitHub. Then before the class ends, I'm going to send that to you. So, so we are going to say lib, another one, lib dot add. So we can add a book, right? So how do you add a book? So add a book object to the libraries collection. You see the comments that we wrote? These comments are going to be used. So they're easy for you to use it. No, add a library. So we saw something, we wrote something here. Here it is. So those comments, they're going to be used to help us know what to do. So for us to be able to navigate this, you need to add like this. So book, then you come and say, so for you to have a book, that book, which is here, is going to carry a title, author, and year. Only, not availability. Don't do that because we didn't initialize them here. I did that for a purpose. So here we are going to put it like this. So we are going to say maybe something like Atomic Habits. It's a good book. So who wrote it? Let us just guess. I don't know. Somebody like called James. James. Then we have, it was written, let us say 2018. Something like that. So that's a book. We have added a book. So to add a book, how do you add a book? You append a book. So to append that book, when you just give it like this, it's going to add it to the list. You don't worry about what add book does. You just need to do that, what it has said. So we want to add another book. So to add another book, we are going to say lib. So why am I using lib dot? So this is a library. So instead of repeating this name and everything, we just put it in a variable and say, add a book. So this is lib, which is a parent, and this is a child. So this child is going to perform that. So we are going to add another one. So lib dot add book. Let us add another book. Remember our list was empty initially. So we are going to say deep work. And then we can say somebody wrote it. Somebody called Carl Newport, written 2016. So we have added 2 books. So let us try and print. Let us try and print this book. So print, this is the best part to know if we have been wasting our time or not. So library catalog. You can just say library catalog. So library catalog, what does it have? we can come and say, so for book in lib dot, we are listing now books. So we want to list our books. So we don't need to call other things. We just need to list. So just call that method called list books. It's going to list the books with their details. Even if we hover here, you're going to see returns or a list of all books with their details. We already wrote that. So after doing that, it is in the iteration. So we want to print all of them. So that's a loop that is going to run until the list is complete. So print. So I want to print to separate them by, I want to separate them by, what do we call? By something. So how do you say, how do I separate them? I'm trying to separate them by something. Let us see if this is going to work. Let us see if that one is going to work. Book. And then, so that one means next line. So let us see. Let us first of all print this one and see what is going to happen. So let me zoom in. Zoom in again. So Python 3 test library. Okay, we have an issue. Let us first of all hide this. There you go. So I commented that one because I had to print it, but I've not given it something. But wait. Let me finish my coding first. Then I'm going to be explaining it bit by bit. So found. Let us check if a book was found. So lead. Yeah. I know why it is not working. I know why it is not working. Let me ignore this one for a while first. I know this one why it is not working. Debugging is hard sometimes. This one was not working because I've not added a book here. Just like that. So let us see. There you go. Atomic Habits. And then you have the next line as deep work and everything. So by. So where is this by coming from? We already wrote these things in by. When you're trying to say list, when you're trying to say list here, we say, we go to get details. Let us go to get details. I want to show you. Here it is. You see, it is going deeper, then you're going to find why. So when you want to list, you have to get details. So at the end of it all, you only care about this. When you want to list the books, this is what you're going to get. You just need to put the title, the author, and the year, and everything else is going to be added for you. Even right now, I can come here. Hello, here is. So it is going to start, every book is going to start with that. So just like that, hello, here is Atomic by, hello, here is Deep Work by, so on and so forth. So, so I was trying to write another method here. So found, no, so found. When something is found, so lib dot find book. So that's how you find a book. So find a book. We want to find a book by the title. So we just say deep work. Remember, it is case insensitive. It doesn't matter how you write it. Let me try this. I know I've just said this one, but let me try put it like that. Change a name. I don't know if it's going to work or if my code base is playing with me. So print found, but we want to borrow it. We want to borrow it just to make it spicy a bit. We want to borrow it. So if you want to borrow it, so we want to borrow it, but if found, so if we are printing, if we found the book, we want to borrow it. If we found, I'm trying to put it in a very optimistic way, like in a very optimistic way. Yeah, I've understood. So what we're trying to project here is we are printing Like if it is found, we borrow it if it is found. Else, if it is not found, we just say book not found. So you can do it in a one line. I'm used to doing things quicker. So I tend to use modern coding. So this line is going to be printing and also having if-else statement. So print if found. So we are printing if this book is found, borrow it. So found, borrow. Or you can say, if this book is found, borrow it. If it is not found, just give a message that is not found. So found, else, just print something. You can do this in one line. That is the beauty of Python. You're not restricted. Not print again. We can come and say book not found. Because the purpose of you going searching for the book is what? So let us just print all of this. So let me see. Let me cease to print this. Why is this not working? Yeah, something like that. So remember, I was searching for deep, then work. As you can see, work is in uppercase. But here we said we are working with case insensitivity. So, which means lowercase everything. So it is going to lowercase it even if you do it. So it has found, so you have borrowed deep work. So what did we say about borrow? What did we say about borrow? Let me just take you. What did you say about borrow? Where is it? Is here. What did you say about borrow? You have borrowed, then it gives you a name, the name of the book that you have borrowed. That is what you said. That's why you have said you have borrowed deep work. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a test of encapsulation of abstraction, sorry. Somebody is asking something here. To comment in Python, for me, you can just place your cursor here, then press Control /. It is going to give you that. Then put that like that, or just highlight. Then Control /. Or just comment like that. If you want to just use hash. Now we have done encapsulation, we have done abstraction. We have two more to go, people, two more to go. I got this error from book import book. Module not found book. Did you not connect? Make sure you have this book.py because that is what we have. So far, have you guys understood? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Python is so easy, right? Let me enable the chat. We have noisemakers waiting on the lobby. And they want to say something. Noisemakers, where are you? Have you understood? 50-50. Yeah, you're going to get a break. Let us just finish two more. Two more. Two more, then you guys go and practice so much because it is going to help you. Yeah, the session is being recorded. You're going to rewatch to understand more. Thank you. How do I print? How to print using? Oh, I use Python 3. You're already in Python 3. Just say Python 3, then the file. Yeah, this is Python, the real Python, not that one that eats people, but a programming language. So when it comes to deployment, later on you're going to be taught, but for me, my recommendation is render. Because Python is not an interface programming language, it's normally used on the back end. So yeah. I don't have templates to see. I'm just jumping in for Evans today. Oh, you have not written Python, you have said Python. Python. Write Python correctly, Boniface. Yeah. So let us go to two more. We are going to go straight to inheritance. After inheritance, we see polymorphism, then we say we have done everything that we want to. The user. Oh, I know what you guys are going through. Oh. Somebody who has Windows, just raise your hand and or just put on the first person to say they have Windows. We have Stanley. Stanley, I'm going to use you. I want you to share your screen. I hope you have stable internet. I want to show you guys a trick, simple one, just computer trick, how to be able to start, how to run your code. So let me disable the chat so that we can go to focus there. This is a good way to keep people silent. Stanley, let me make sure you have raised your hand, Stanley. I need to allow you to be one of the. I'm not using Windows, so that's why. Let me stop sharing mine. And let me go to participants. Stanley, make sure you have raised your hand. So I want to promote you to panelists so that you can be able to share your screen. It is Stanley who? Stanley Twitter. Okay. I think I promoted the wrong person. So many Stanleys here. Okay, let me remove the other one. Or let the other one just remain. Okay, Stanley, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I am.
Kindly increase your audio.
I can be able to hear you.
Now, kindly share your screen. Full screen, please.
Full screen.
Those people who are using Windows, kindly tune in. Just I know it is majority. Now,
Shared.
take me to your Explorer.
Explorer.
Yeah. Now, take me to where your project is.
I'm doing everything from desktop and then
Which folder?
GitHub.
Which folder again?
I
The one that
haven't
you're using
created.
currently. The one that you're using for VS Code currently.
I haven't created one for this Python project, but I have everything here for Python. So when we are done learning, I will go practice on everything before I update it.
Okay, kindly, I need a file right here, the one that you
Yes.
have done today. Kindly create a
Yes.
file. Take me to VS Code. I want to see something.
VS Code. Should I create one?
Yeah. The project that you are, no, not here. Just close
Yes.
this. You can just close this VS Code for now. Just close this
Okay.
VS Code. Now, take me to Python. No, don't open it. Don't open it. Don't open it.
Python
It's going to open the same file. Take me to Python folder.
to Python folder.
Now, create a folder called week 5.
Week 5.
Then open it. Now, while here,
Yes.
let's say you have your file. Before even you open that one, I need to show you other things. We have two ways whereby you can use your terminal, but we want to use the basic thing that we have in our computers. All of us who are using Windows are having something called command prompt. Like we have our command line, right? our command
Yes.
prompt terminal, right? So you see
Yes.
where week 5 is written. Click
Yes.
on the empty space ahead of it.
Empty space ahead
Yeah,
of it.
that. Now, don't touch, just type CMD. Usiguze
CMD.
anything, usiguze anything, just type CMD.
CMD.
Then hit enter.
Enter.
So what is going to happen is going to open your CMD inside that project.
Okay.
It's going to open CMD inside that project, as you can see. You see?
Yes.
That is one way. Another way, you can close this terminal now. Another way, you can right-click within your folder.
Right click.
Then you open Git bash.
Git bash.
There it is.
Git bash here.
Bash, not the GUI. Git bash. That's another terminal, which is Linux-like.
Okay.
That's a terminal that is Linux-like. You can also use that one. Or you can use a terminal within VS Code. Now open VS Code within this.
VS Code
No, within the folder.
here.
Yeah. It's going to open that folder. You see it is week 5. Now when you go, click there. Do you know where your terminal is?
My terminal. Yes.
So when you click run, just show people how you came about that, where you found it, by the way.
Terminal. I hold Control Shift and the button before number 1.
People are so confused anyway. You see the upper icons, just hover there. The file, edit, selection, view, go, run. When you hover,
Yes.
just go to the 3 dots now. Click
Yes.
there, you're going to find your terminal there. So you can choose new terminal if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah. So now within this terminal, you can use PowerShell, you can use Git bash. We have like 3 terminals that you can able to choose from. Now it is not there. You see where you have plus.
Yes.
So that drop down that we have there, click there. You see we have PowerShell, Git bash, command prompt, JavaScript debug terminal, 4 of them.
Okay.
So for me, what I normally advise learners to use Git bash. PowerShell normally fails.
Okay.
Use Git bash.
Git bash.
Why? It is going to mimic Linux-like commands when you are trying to run things, because Linux is built for things like running commands. You see? Linux is
Yes.
built to run commands. So, or to do programming. So even WSL is the same as Linux, by the way. So that's why I'm saying using that one. So WSL Windows subsystem for Linux is the same running on Windows, which is another version of running Linux, but you can just run Linux if you want to. But anyway, that was a demonstration of how you can go to run. So because we're using Python 3, you just need to type Python 3, then the name of the file, just like that, using all of those. But because you don't have your files, if you had a file, you can just write Python 3, then space the name of the file, then it's going to run. Understood?
Yes.
Everyone, thumbs up if you have understood. Thank you so much, Stanley. You can stop sharing now.
Thank you.
Great. Let me share my screen. We have just covered first half, but the first 2 were necessary for me to delve deeper so that you guys can be able to understand it really, really well. Take this one here, show that one there. Great. Okay. So, let me see if you have any chats. Okay. Don't worry, I'm going to share my GitHub repository for this project. So let me just push them right now. Let me push them right now. Don't follow my commands, please. Don't follow my commands. I have I have my own ways of writing my commands, so don't worry. Just you just keep in touch. Um, the signature there. Okay, let me go and create a repo. May I use SSH? In future, you are going to learn how, why people use SSH. That is not for our class today. So I've just pushed. So let me see. There you go. So that is the repo. Just go through of what we have done so far. So far, what we have done. That is what we have done so far. So kindly go through that repository. Let me go back to class. Anyway, so we have done encapsulation, we have done abstraction. Now let us go to inheritance. Inheritance, as the name suggests, you just inherit things. Now we go to inheritance. So for inheritance, we are going to create two files. We are going to create two files so that we can be able to show the inheritance analogy entirely of what we're trying to talk about. We're trying to practice the inheritance aspect. So we are going to create the digital book. Typos. Okay, so we are going to say from book, just the importing things that we normally have. So from book, we are going to create, so class digital book. This digital book is going to be to have that instance of a book, just like that. And then, of course, normally our instantiator that we normally have. So we're going to say def. Okay. It is okay. It has autocompleted, which is good, which I wanted, but not what I wanted. Remember, I'm not using autocomplete from Copilot. It's just coding itself. We have so many people who have raised their hands. Let us try and address these issues. Let us start by who is raising up their hand. Okay. Let me allow all of these people to talk one by one. But let us start one by one, please. Emmanuel. Okay, let us go to the next person. Joy Minami, do you have a question? Joy Minami, do you have a question? Okay, let us remove her. Go to the next person. Joy, are you speaking? Let us go to treasurer. Somebody called treasurer.
Treasure.
Oh, treasure. Sorry. Yes,
Good
talk to us.
afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Treasure from Nigeria.
Yes.
So I followed up with the class. I wrote exactly all the code, but I'm running it. It's still showing error. I still use the git bash way you said we should use. It's still showing error.
Mhm. Have you installed Python? Start from there.
Yes.
What version of Python are you using?
Python 3, I guess.
So you just type Python 3 lowercase, all of them lowercase, then the name of the file.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Kindly share your screen. Let me stop sharing mine. Somebody reshare the link to the repository that I've just shared. Thank you. Treasure, you are not sharing your screen. Time is really
Okay,
gone.
I'm coming. I'm new. This is my first time sharing screen. Can you see it now?
Not yet. Okay, it's gone. Israel? Israel or Israel?
Israel. Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, so I am having a similar issue to Treasure. I
Mhm.
have written all the code as well, and I'm getting the error, no module named.
Kindly share your
I don't
screen,
know.
you see?
I don't think I
Mhm.
am permitted to share screen. I can't see an option for it.
Let me see. I think you are permitted because you are promoted to panelist or not yet. Let me see. Let me promote it to panelist. I think now you can rejoin as panelist and you can share your screen. Great. Now you can share screen, Israel. You can just unmute and share your screen. Perfect. Okay, now what are we getting there? No model book. Okay, let's see. Test library. Take us to library. We see library. Great. From book, import book. Have we written exactly what? Yes, we are getting there. Try to copy exactly the code that I wrote. Try to copy the code that I have wrote from the repository, because I believe that is exactly what is there, and then it is going to be possible for you to run it kindly so that we can go to jump on the next two because of time, please.
All right.
But I believe
Oh.
it's an issue to do with the typos that you might have. Would take us to the book. Take us to the book, book.py. I think everything is okay. I don't know why. Because of time, kindly just compare your codes with mine that I've just shared because mine are running, so that we can jump on the next thing immediately because of time.
All right, I'll do that.
Scroll up, scroll up. People are trying to debug with you here. Scroll up. Yeah, you see on the title, you have written double T title. Are you seeing there? I think you have written that several times across your code. Try to compare your code with mine and then debug from there.
I'll do that.
You can stop sharing now so that I can be able to go back to class. We have inheritance and polymorphism to cover, then wrap it all up. Thank you. Great. So let us go back to the class. Okay, where are we? So we were trying to see digital library book, and I think I started writing some few things. This is going to be a short one. So I said that, okay, we have a year, but for me, I want a few things here. So I can have file size. File size. We are trying to demonstrate inheritance, so we need two files per se. And then right here, we can have that super. So we are using super to inherit attributes from the book class. So how do you use that? So let me just put that there. So we are using super. Before I just write it, we are using super to inherit the attributes from the book class. That is what we're doing here. So for us to be able to use super, that's how we can be able to use it. So super, then you remember the instantiator that we had at that time? So we are going to use that instantiator, or we can say initializer in other words, to be able to have that constructor, have everything here. So we had title, then we had author, and then we had year. So the three, exactly how they are. So using that super, we have inherited everything from the book class. Now, proceeding from there, we can add an additional attribute to our digital book. Remember, title, author, and year, we don't need to repeat them all over again. We already have them in the book class, right? So we only need to inherit them, then we can add one more that we want. So one more that we want is now what you can be able to put here, which is called file size. That is the one more that we have. Then you can say file size. So that is the one more. So the first three that you're seeing here, we have inherited them using super, this method called super. I've already explained it here. Then the one that we want to use, additional one, here it is. So instead of writing all of them all over again, that is title, author, year, everything here, the particularity, we just need to inherit them and reuse them. Now, that's our instantiator for digital book. Now, because it's a digital book, what can a digital book have? We can stream that book. You can borrow that book. Let us just have those two because of time. So we can say stream. So stream self. I hope you guys have understood the essence of inheritance in that case using super. So here we can come and say, so we want to simulate something like a simulate streaming. This is simulates streaming of the digital book. So that is what is happening there. So to simulate that, we can say streaming this book title of a particular size. Then we put MBs. So we say return formatted. So you can come and say streaming. Then you can put book size, book title, so self dot title. Then you can come and say, so size of this thing is what? So size. For the size, remember we already have. So we can say this is file size. Then of course, a file size is of using megabytes. So streaming Game of Thrones, the file size 1000 megabytes, just like that. Now, that is streaming. Now, how about borrowing? How do you borrow online? So borrow, not self-borrow. Let me remove that one. So borrow. So we want to override the borrow method to reflect the digital availability. So that is what you're trying to do here. This function doesn't do a lot. So we can come and say this one overrides the borrow method to reflect digital availability. Just like that. Then you can come and say return. So it's a formatted one as well. So we can say the title. So self.title. Not the title, then you can say it's a digital book. So we can add other things like no need borrow or stream it in. Can say any word or stream. So no need to borrow it. You just need to stream it in any time. Simple. So that is it. So for you to be able to understand what we're talking here is that you see here digital book, line 3. This means that you are here to inherit from the book class. That's why the others were instantiating without any parameters that were coming with it. In here, these are called parameters. So here, this class was having a parameter called book. So it was here to inherit. So you get all the attributes and methods for free. So then you come and use super to be able to use that. So using super, this line calls the parent constructor. The parent constructor, so you don't need to retype all the setup for title, author, and everything. You don't need to do that at all. So it is that simple. Now, I'm just trying to explain. Then here we have for the stream, this method for stream. So new method for like only available for digital books. Then this borrow, this is going to override the original method that we have. You see, the original method that we had, which is here, is for borrow. So it's going to override this one to behave differently from digital books. So this one is a custom behavior that we have just added here. So a quick test that you can be able to have for this one. I believe all of you, or you can just write a quick test, follow suit as this one. Just follow suit as this one. What is happening here? But I think I have that code base here. Let me just copy it and paste. Let me find that code base from this other screen. Yeah, I think I found it. I wrote it somewhere. So this, so this we can call it test digital.py. Test digital book. Just for testing, then you can be able to paste our code here. So digital book, from digital book, then you create a variable called ebook. Then that digital book is going to have, because this digital book is carrying a parameter called book. This book can carry title, author, and year. Same thing as you can see here, title, author, and year. And then you can have a file size. Remember this instantiator, so it is going to carry title, author, year, and the file size. So that is what you're seeing here, 75 MBs. So you can print, get details, stream, and everything. So let us try that. So we can say Python 3, then test digital, and then here, there you go. So hello, here is Python for all by Guido van Rossum. This is the creator of Python. Then the year, then streaming. It has all of things, everything pertaining that. Then Python for all is a digital book. No need to borrow at any time. You just stream at any time. Simple. So the next thing that you're going to create. So now that you have done the digital book, let us reinforce inheritance again. So this time, we want to do it with a twist, a little bit of twist. So by creating another class called magazine. So this class is going to inherit from the book also, but it's going to behave differently in its own way. So let us do, because it's still part of inheritance, we have charts here. No. You can write all in all the files, but remember in a project, you are not going to do that. Yeah, you can write unit test if you want to. So let me proceed. Let me disable the chat so that I can be able to focus. Now, like I said, we want to do it with a little bit of twist. So let us do now for magazine so that we can be able to reinforce inheritance. So we are going to create another file called magazine. The reason why I'm doing it for in all the files, the importance is you are able to debug easily. You have spread your code base really well. Even in a project, you're not going to do your project in one file, all of them. No, magazine.py. Not a gun magazine, but a magazine newspaper. This code, I'm going to be pushing them, so don't worry. If you're not seeing them, just follow through and everything is going to be clear. Now, let me do. So let's wrap up inheritance by creating this magazine class. So this will be your second custom subclass for book. Remember, we have the first subclass, which is on the digital library. So the second one is going to be for magazine. So this is going to show you how multiple types can be inherited from the same parent while acting differently. So this one is going to be like only 2. So from book, import book, typos. Import book, then you are going to say class. So magazine. You can be able to say, I want to rush it because of time. So dev, the same thing that we did, by the way, the same thing that we did, except I don't want all of other things. So here, after having here, so we still call the parent constructor. We still call the parent constructor, but only this time we change the behavior. So here we put editor. We know it's an author, but let us just put editor instead of author. So that is what we have done there. So I can come and say, we still call the parent constructor. But use editor instead of author. Just like that. So of course, super, as usual. Dot, then we bring up everything. So we can have title. We can have now editor. Then we can have here. Just like that. So having all of those, we have already instantiated our magazine. Then now we can see how to borrow. Let us see borrow. Only borrow this time. So, no, let us do it simple. So what we want here is magazines can't be borrowed. So override borrow method to say magazines can't be borrowed. Like this title of this book is a magazine and cannot be borrowed. That is what we want to say. So magazine. Can be borrowed. So we can say override borrow method. So you can come and say return formatted as well. Then we put the title, so self dot title. Then you can come and say is a magazine and cannot be borrowed. Simple. So we've just altered that. We have just altered that. You can be able to write anything. So whenever you call the same thing that we did here, so whenever you change this one, for example, and put it as digital or something like magazine. So you can come here and put, let us just copy this because the testing is same. So test magazine.py. Testing is the same. So only here we're going to say magazine. Then here we change to magazine. So here as well, we come and say magazine, just like that. Then here we say mag. Yeah. So and then you can come and copy this one, mag, except we don't have stream. So remove this, just remove this one. So the same thing, let us see. If we call a magazine, okay, we have an issue. We gave it 5. We're supposed to only give it 4. Hello there, the book. But then this book is a magazine and cannot be borrowed. So you override the overriding of classes, overriding of methods, and so on. So that one, what you can be able to say is that we have covered a lot as far as encapsulation and abstraction and inheritance. So for inheritance, we have covered 2 things. Overriding of methods, number 1, while we're doing digital books, and also custom behavior. For inheritance, when you're doing magazine, we have done custom behaviors there because we have already tried to change something here. We have just tried to customize our things. So as you can see, it is still calling it an author, yet we have already edited it. So don't worry, you're going to understand. So now, are you ready now to put all of this together? Then we can be able to wrap the class. So now, we'll be able to use polymorphism across all book types. This is the last part that we are trying to cover. We are going to use polymorphism across all book types. So in this case, we are going to build a main controller, main.py, that pulls everything together with a menu system. So let us go and do that because that is going to integrate everything. People are reacting. Don't worry, we are about to finish. Don't worry, we are about to finish. This is like a mathematics class. Okay, so far, everybody have understood inheritance? Inheritance? Just give me a signal. I know it is not easy, but let me push this one so that we can move to the next one. So you can check the same repository for this extra code. Wrong password. People are putting thumbs down. Why thumbs down? Let me hear why thumbs down as we proceed. Why thumbs down? I need to see that on the charts. Let us cover. Let me push this. You can just check the repository. We are at the end of, yeah, I'm moving so fast because of time, because we have codes that I've just pushed them. Don't worry. If it was easy, everybody will be doing it. So you are the chosen one. Don't worry. As long as you have just pushed the code, just go and find it. And of course, I've written comments, so it is going to be easy that way. Can you show us some of your parents, really? So the code for the test also have been able to push them. Yeah, it is new, but trust me, if you have understood object-oriented programming, you are a pro in programming, because even we have other programmers who don't know about object-oriented programming. Even in campus, it is normally taught in universities, but people don't understand it. They usually fail that class. Inheritance, polymorphism, abstractions, and the other one that we have done, those things are not easy. And the fact that you are trying to comprehend, you have comprehended the class, you are comprehending it, you have made it so far. So let me handle the last part, which is combining all of them together, and then we can be able to call it a day. I know the class is long, so I've pushed the code for inheritance. Kindly go and check it. Now, the final step, putting it all together with polymorphism. Polymorphism, that is what we are going to do the last part now. Putting it all together. Now, it's time to bring everything together using this main.py. So the brain of a smart library system is what we are going to write now. So here, you will see all object-oriented principles, the 4 of them, in action, especially polymorphism, where different types of books respond differently to the same borrow method. So polymorphism. I wanted to, let me just rush. So I'm going to rush 200 meters per second right now, not even 100. Oh yeah, we have that file. I've already created that file. Now, to put all of this together, I'm going to borrow everything. So I'm going to import everything. So import library from library. No, what am I doing? From library, import library. It is confusing me like React. From book, import book. From digital book, import digital book. From magazine, import magazine. Import magazine. Yeah, after importing all of that, I don't need a class now. I just need a main file. So main Then I'm going to start coding now. So remember, it's a library, so I'm going to put everything together. So start by naming our library equals to library. So library, then I put my library. Remember, our library is called Smart City Library. Just like that. After putting that, I want to add variables. So add, not even variable, add various book types. Let me put on my lights because I'm struggling to see on my keyboard. Some Q&A here. Yeah, exactly the point. Somebody just sent we are creating digital books for inheritance so that we can be able to inherit properties or attributes from book. Exactly. So reusability, that's why we're inheriting. We're inheriting properties like title, year, and the author from the book so that we can be able to reuse it inside digital book instead of rewriting them again. Anyway, add various book types. I know you guys are trying to understand, but time is really gone. Bear with me, we're almost done. We're almost done. Or I can just copy and paste. Let me just copy and paste because of time. I already wrote these things while I was doing other things. So add, line 9, add various book types. Forgive me, my background. I have noisy background because it's raining heavily. Library, this we've already done. So we are adding books. So we have the first book, which is just a physical book, as you can see, adding that into the book library. Then we are having a digital book that we are adding as well. Here it is. Remember this. Then we have a magazine that we are adding. So we have a book, a digital book. This is a manual book to read, a digital book, or you can say ebook, and then we have a magazine. So 3 types of books or 3 book types that we are having to our library. Then we are going to write a loop. So while everything is true here, so this is a loop that we are writing here. This is a loop that we are writing, and it is going to end everything. Like everything is going to work according to how we are writing it. So it is going to do all of these checks. So it's going to print that, welcome to the Smart Library. Then the first, view all books. Number 2, we have borrow a book. So it's going to give you a menu. It's going to give you a menu. The first thing in the menu is view all books, borrow a book, return a book, rate a book, or exit. So choices that you are supposed to do. So we have an input. It's going to give you an input. Choose an option from 1 to 5. So choose an option from 1 to 5. Now, if you choose 1, if your choice is 1, what is going to happen for 1? When you choose 1, the following is going to happen. So it's going to print this one, library catalog. Then in the library catalog, this is the function that is going to perform. So it is going to check the details. So you're trying to view all the books, right? So it is going to list each and every book inside our library book, library.books that we have. Then it's going to print all of them. It's going to list all of them with their details. Remember, their details, well detailed. So when you choose 1, else, if you choose 2, so this one is an elif. So if that one, else, if you choose 2, you're going to be given this one. So title, you're going to be told to input. So you're trying to borrow a book. So for you to borrow a book, you have to search for a book. You have to search for a book. So you're told, kindly enter the title of the book you want to borrow. Then that book that you want to borrow, we are going to take it and use the find book method that we have. Remember the find book method? I can even go directly to where it is. Here, the find book, the book method. It is case insensitive. So it's going to jump into this place and help you find a book. So if the book is found, print that book. So here it is where I want to explain. So polymorphism. Each book behaves differently. Each books behave differently. Remember the borrow. This borrow, we have modified it 3 times. We have the normal borrow here. We have the normal borrow for a book. This is the normal one. But then we also have a borrow here. We have another borrow. So overrides the original borrow to reflect the digital availability. Then we have another borrow from magazine. So it is going, so polymorphism. So why is polymorphism coming in? So polymorphism, each book behaves differently. Each book is going to behave differently. We have something here. And kindly, please don't rely on just information that you are sharing in class. Go and do your research. So it is not an app or anything. Our class is based on a project, it's project based. So instead of explaining inheritance aside polymorphism, we are trying to put all of them together so that we can be able to have it as a project. So this is like a small project that you have done in a class with me. This is a project that you're doing. So it is not a website, just a project-based class. So our project is Smart Library that you're building in Python. Now, as we proceed, so polymorphism comes in because it allows you to interact with different behaviors. So as you can see, borrow has different behaviors. As you can see, we have different behaviors for borrow. So if the book is found, print that book, but it is going to print this book in a very different way. It is going to print this book. For magazine, you're going to find different information. For digital book, different information. For the book, the manual book is going to find different information, and so on. Now, else if you choose number 3, remember our menu number 3, you're supposed to return a book. So for you to return a book, enter the book that you want to return. Then we are going to take that book. You are going to find that book that you're trying to return. Maybe you are going to return a book that we don't have in our catalog. You see, we have to have that book that was borrowed first so that we can be able to return it. Then it's going to find it. After finding it, if the book you're trying to return is found within what we have in our library, then we are going to allow you to execute the return book. So to return a book, there's a method that you're supposed to follow. There's a method that you're supposed to follow. We have it right here. Return book. So you're going to create an availability of that book, essentially. Else, the book that you're trying to return is not found, same case as here. Else, if you choose number 4, you're trying to rate a book. So to rate a book, so I'm going to be a bit longer, but bear with me. So enter a book, find that book that you're trying to rate. Is it available with us or not? You cannot rate a book that you don't have. So you have to have that book first. So if book that we're trying to rate is available, you use try catch. So this is error handling. I don't know if you have covered error handling. Error handling in Python. This is how you do it. So everything in the try. So you try this. If an error comes in, you use except. So try catch. For JavaScript, they use try catch. For Python, they use try except. So try, then you declare a variable. This variable is called rating. Then this variable is going to take an input, which is an integer. So input, that is an integer. So enter a rating from 0 to 5. So it's going to take an input, which is an integer. So when it takes that input, it takes it, then it's going to use the set rating. We have the set rating. I don't know if you have covered this one yet. I don't know if I've covered this one yet. But I was supposed to put it here. I was supposed to put it here. But don't worry, don't worry. I think I forgot, but because of time, let us just continue. This one is going to take the rating that we have. This one is going to take the rating that we have. Let me check the Q&A. So it is going to take the rating, a method that you can be able to create even really fast if you want to, but I'm going to do that in a short while. Now, actually we have it. Let me see. No, it is get details. It is get details that we have. So if you had set ratings, we also have to add something like, let me add it really quick. I think I forgot to add it. So to set it, you just need to do set rating in the book, then self. You can say something like rating. Yeah. So in the first place, we are doing that, but also here, we can be able to have self dot, then we can have, just have something like rating. So this is to encapsulate it and make it private. 0. So it is going to encapsulate it and make it private, the essence. So we are going to take that rating, and then you are going to say, if 0, remember we are using 0, if 0 is less than or equals to the rating, we are trying to create that scale less than or equals to 5. We are going to say something like self dot underscore rating that we have equals to rating. I'm not going to explain other things. I forgot to write this, but this is just a method to put rating. So print, we can say rating must be between 0 and 5, just like that. So that is this one you can be able to come and say here. You can be able to come and say here, set a rating from 0 to 5 with the book. And then you can add and say, this is just an example, by the way. Example of encapsulation, the one that we did, the first one, encapsulation. That one is really long. You can say rating is private. When you rate, rating is private, by the way. Now that one is set rating. Now, when we want to fetch this rating, where can we find? Forgive me if I'm going faster, but because of time, you can just go through the code base and see if it is working. Don't know if it is also working. We've not tested it. So for us to get the ratings, we are going to get the current ratings of the books. That is very simple. Get the current ratings of the book. Then you're going to say, just return something, self dot, here it is, underscore rating. This one is return. Just like that. So we are done with that. So let us go back. So this one is going to be gotten. So when you say set rating, it's going to fetch that rating. Then thanks, current rating, then it's going to fetch the rating out of 5. If it is 3, 3 out of 5. And then it's going to throw an error if there's an error. If you have put a number that is not existing, maybe above 5, it is going to tell you invalid input. Enter a number that is between 0 and 5. So enter a valid number. Anyway, if that book is not available that you're trying to rate, the book is not found. If you choose number 5, you are trying to exit. So you have to break that while loop. You have to break that while loop that you have created. So this is how you can come and break it. So exiting smart library, see you again. You can come and add here, bye. Just like that. So when you do that, it's going to break that while loop. Then it's going to tell you if you have entered something that is not something here. If you have entered a number that is not within 1 and 5, it is going to tell you invalid choice. Please try again. Anyway, enough talking. Let us see if it is working. So Python 3 main.py. It's not working. Let us see why. Why is it not working? Let us try Python 2. So Python 2 is not available. Python 3 only is there. Why is it not working? Where have we gone wrong? Magazine is there, everything is there. Let us see. So it is not running. Let me see. There must be an issue. We have so many things here. Main.py. There are no issues. Or you have a file that is not saved. Let me see. This file is saved. Let me remove this. This file is not running at all. Was an extra eye to help us see where the issue is. Yeah, I think I know why. I think I just know why. Yay. I think I know why. Oh, I think at the bottom here, I'm supposed to do something here. So if name, you can go to come and say, let me just put this one here. Yeah. So we need to add this one. So this is Python's way of saying if this file is ran directly or not imported, then run the main function. So that is why we are going to say here run the main function. I forgot to put that. I don't know why. I think now it's supposed to work really well. You see, it's now working. So that was Python's way. Let me just go back. Python's way of saying if this file is run directly without importing, we are not going to import main file. So what you're supposed to do, some charts here, don't know. Yeah, you don't need to call it. So instead of calling it, you're supposed to just to attach a message here to say, I want to run it directly. So run this kind of function that you're seeing here, line 6. But thank you for your input, people. So let us try and see if our logic is working. So we are going to put 1. Then we are told, hello. We have in our catalog, we have viewed all the books, as you can see. Atomic habits, we have, let me just remove this hello thing. It is annoying. Let me run again. So 1, atomic habits, learn Python, blah, blah, blah. So let us try and borrow the book. So we want to borrow the book, let us say, Tech Monthly. Let us say Tech Monthly. Then we hit enter. So Tech Monthly is a magazine and cannot be borrowed. So let us try another book. Let us say Learn Python. So Learn Python is a digital book. No need to borrow. Stream it at any time. So remember these things. One of them is a digital one of them is a magazine, one of them is a book itself. So let us try and return a book. So let us try, we can do other things. Let us try and write a book. So 4, let us write a book, enter the title of the book. So let us write Learn Python. So I want to rate it at 4. So we have rated, so thanks for rating 4/5. It is okay. So we can exit if you want to, then we are done. So exiting. I think you guys have already, are already now good. Polymorphism. Polymorphism, I've already explained it, and I've explained it inside where we were. I've explained it where we were. Just to reiterate, maybe for those who didn't understand, polymorphism in this case, or in many forms, you can say, you can have many forms. For example, the thing that was having many forms is borrow. Where is it? Borrow. It's lost. Borrow. It was having many forms. So in Python object-oriented, it allows you to use the same method name in different types of objects. So, and each object responds in its own way. So that is polymorphism. So I think that's it for our class. It has gone for like 3 hours, but in a very enjoyment way. I'll be enabling the chat right now, sharing the code immediately. So you guys kindly rate the class. How was the class? I know we have been floating. We have to float sana. So we have floated, but no worries. I'm trying to enable the class. The chat rather. So I've enabled the chat. As I share the code base, how was the class? Yeah, it is tough. Yeah, kindly go and rewatch, and then you're going to enjoy it. If you're floating, please just go within your peer groups. They are going to help you. Because you guys are so many right now, trying to get each and every one to help them is going to take a lot of time. So I've pushed the code base, I've pushed the latest changes. Thank you guys for joining in the class. I was just dusting myself of Python because it has been so long for me to actually code in Python. So yeah, let me reshare the repository. I don't know. Python cannot run on browsers. Let me put the code base again here. That is the code. Thank you guys for joining the class. Thank you so much. Oh, for me, I use Rust. I don't know if you are aware of Rust. I use Rust. I use Rust programming to code nowadays. I cannot paste the link on the Q&A. Somebody can paste on the Q&A so that other people can be able to see it. Somebody paste the link on the Q&A so that others can be able to see it. Oh, Rust is so advanced. Rust Q&A, paste that on the Q&A. Thank you. Kindly check the link on the Q&A if you want to see it. Thank you so much. Rust is so advanced than Python, not for beginners. But majorly I code in, let me stop sharing because that is not part of our class. Stop recording.